everyone! Boom finally has released his long-anticipated episode 73 Part 2. The number of details and references in this episode was just insane, but trust me, I found all of the smallest details and plot twists in here. How the heck did Titan Speakerman get infected and then reverse this state? How G-Man and the secret agent are connected and whose side Boom is truly on? What was inside of these containers for real? What secret does G-Man truly know? And what's gonna happen to all the Titans after all those terrible injuries that they've got? What I'm going to tell you today, you won't find anywhere but on this channel, only so be sure to definitely get your tea and snacks ready and prepare to watch this video to the end because I saved the most important part for later. Let's go! The episode starts with the last scene that the first part ended with as usual. All the team of Titans are gathering as expected, including Camerawoman, who remains to be the POV of the whole 73rd episode, just as I predicted. Titan TV Man and G-Man exchange their pleasantries from the previous part of the episode, but the dialogue was a bit prolonged with the phrase that G-Man says to Titan TV Man, and this phrase is, "for scientist." Which means that he and Scientist were still on the same side all this time. And also I found it pretty interesting how this phrase simply mimics Titan Cameraman's for plunger.
For plunger.
And this phrase may prove my point once again that this Jimmy is actually the real one. Because I really doubt that any clone would look that hurt or angered. Plus, it also adds a feeling that G-Man has his own emotions as well, and that all sides in this war actually have their sacrifices, which is a really sad thought if you'll think about it. And then the most heated part starts unraveling in front of our eyes. While G-Man and Titan TV Man had their conversation, Titan Speakerman sneaked up on him like a real rat, which made me chuckle a bit. What happened to the laws of honors in the fight, dude? Or you really hate G-Man that much that you consider every means to defeat him to be justifiable? Considering how he dealt with the original Skibidi scientist, it's pretty clear to me that he just wants both leaders of the Skibidi army destroyed and perished into oblivion. And the laws of truthful fight don't work for Titan Speakerman now anymore. But G-Man didn't even seem to flinch. And to tell you even more, his shield activated automatically on his back while he was still staring at Titan TV Man. And this shield repelled Titan Speakerman's sneaky attack pretty effortlessly. That was really cool, dude. Bad guys don't look back at explosions, so to speak, huh? And Titan Cameraman also seemed to join Dishonor Party because we can also see him blasting G-Man from behind. But as I told you earlier, the dude simply doesn't give a damn as his shield absorbs all kinds of damage. And during that time, G-Man also activates his own guns and puts them into use as he targets Titan TV Man with his lasers. And now I'm gonna point out to something crazy to you guys. G-Man targets the core of Titan TV Man right away, and in order to protect this, we see how Titan TV Man does a pretty interesting trick. Instead of covering his core with protective armor or any other exterior piece, he activates his mode of absorbing G-Man's energy. We know that he's totally capable of doing that because we already saw him doing that in the first part of episode 68, where he pulled the same trick. So I'm assuming that he's doing pretty much the same thing here. And in the process of it, as he's distracting G-Man long enough, he also activates his terrifying red glow mode, which is supposed to be the final and most dangerous weapon against Skibidi toilets. And also, I love the posture Titan TV Man is at in this moment. It looks like a frame from some superhero movie or something like that. And now, sit tight in your seats, guys, because right now you're about to see something mind-blowing. G-Man, who is being attacked by the red glow, shuts his eyes, and his face seems to be wriggling in pain, which really made me remember of episode 47. But I also suspect that in this moment he was simply faking his condition and made it look worse as it felt to him in reality. And why it is so, I'll explain to you later in this video, so be sure to watch it to the end to understand everything. Well anyway, in the meantime, while he's distracting Titan TV Man with his face, he puts some special juice inside on his lasers and send it towards his opponent. And it's not purple. It's actually green, which means that he's sending some sort of virus or infection, which is being connected to the secret agent directly. And oh my god, guys, there is so much I can tell you about it. First of all, as we'll understand later in this episode, G-Man did not in fact betray Skibidi Scientist, and all this time they were on the same page, but we'll return to this detail later. And in case you forgot, Skibidi Scientist could be seen contacting the secret agent via dystopian Skype or something like that. And it was just before the final battle for him began, after which he seized his entire existence. But what if he still managed to discuss something extremely important with the secret agent before he left this world? And considering that all this time he was actually cooperating with G-Man, it could concern the commander as well. And even considering the fact that the secret agent can have his own motifs in this universe, right now I'm pretty sure that he at least makes it look like he's on the same side with G-Man in this fight, and he planned to infect one of the Titans or Titan TV Man specifically all along. So that's why G-Man waited for the right moment to send this green virus or infection via his lasers, and his plan definitely worked. And I can already foresee some grand consequences after that, both for Titan TV Man and for the whole Alliance. But I'll tell you everything about that closer to the end of this video. And I see that Titan TV Man noticed this green weird crap, but unfortunately too late. Because in this shot we can see that he lowers his head TV screen to his chest right at this second when the green infection already reached his core. And of course he freaks out pretty badly after this. Although I'm not sure whether this explosion at first happened due to the contact between the virus and his core, or maybe it all happened because Titan TV Man decided to cut these laser ties between him and Jimmy. And he does that immediately using his giant purple sword. But unfortunately we know already at this point that it's too late for him, and that the point of no return has already been crossed. Plus, he doesn't do this cutting thing pretty well, and we can see that lasers were still stuck in his core. And we see how they start damaging him pretty badly after this, which led to a couple more explosions as well. But I believe that the biggest damage was already done to him even beforehand, and it's not just about physical damage after all. Yes, Titan TV Man is still alive and standing on his feet, but that's the thing. Because I believe that destroying him wasn't the primal goal of Jimmy. I have a theory on what this infection can actually lead to, but as I've already mentioned it before, I'll tell you about it a little bit later, so brace with me. Okay, and now as G-Man has no point of pretending that he's been hurt by the red glow by Titan TV Man or something, he opens his eyes once again and turns towards two other of his opponents that weren't able to damage him through his back before due to the shield that was activated by Jimmy all this time. Then Jimmy turns around, and in this moment we can see how Titan Cameraman seems to give some smoking from his head. But as I looked closer into this, I thought that it was actually a smoke that was produced by G-Man's own jetpack, and that's all. Although, spoiler alert, this won't be the last time when we'll see Titan smoking in any sense of this word, but let's not go into this right now. And I also would like to mention that it was pretty weird on Titan Cameraman's behalf, because the moment when Jimmy was turning around would be almost perfect for a leaping melee attack or something like this. Plus, I've already mentioned that it's obvious that Titans chose to do a rather unfair fight instead of a fight of honor. So, what's the point of waiting for you opponent around? Well, maybe he was still in shock because of the Jimmy's shield that was absorbing all the damage that he in pair with Titan Speakerman was dealing to G-Man from the back. I don't really know about it. Well, but in any case, Titan Speakerman doesn't plan to wait around any longer, so he launches an immediate distance attack with his powerful red balls of energy on G-Man, but all of them still face the wall in a form of G-Man's shide. So now it's Jimmy's part to respond. And oh my god, just look at his face in the moment when he lowers his guard. The dude is mad as hell, and you already know why, because he's full of saint anger and ready to blast everyone who's responsible in destruction of his comrade, Skibidi Scientist. But the thing is that Titan's desire for revenge is totally understandable as well, because they lost not only Plungerman, but a lot of other precious agents of the Alliance as well. And don't forget how they still may consider TV Woman to be destroyed as well, due to violent G-Man's attack on the Skibidi puppet that she was operating with. So emotions and anger from the both sides are valid, and Jimmy is still clearly in the villain position here. Although if you watched my video dedicated to the global theory on the whole Skibidi universe, that you must know that the moral of the series seems much more complicated to me at this point, because there are clearly some higher authorities responsible for all this giant mess that occupied the whole planet. And there are just innocent people that were affected on both sides of this confrontation, including the Skibidi toilets. But I mentioned how I always considered G-Man to be enough self-aware for becoming a part of this authorities from the very start of the virus. So I can't apply this logic about initial moral innocence towards him. Okay, and now let's get back to the episode. As G-Man lowers his guard, he sends a bunch of lasers towards Titan Speakerman as well, and oh my god, did you see this, guys? He's enhancing his lasers with the same green infection that he just used on Titan TV Man, and as he does that, his facial expression gets even more terrifying than it was before. The dude is insane for real, and I'm not even kidding you guys. but I feel like he gets consumed by his emotions way too much because it looks like he even forgets about Titan Cameraman's presence in this moment, who interrupts his energetic exchange with Titan Speakerman. So I really doubt that Jimmy did any harm to him at this point. Plus, don't forget that contrary to Titan TV Man, who often consumes his opponent's energy with his core in battles, Titan Speakerman never does that. So sending this infection to Titan Speakerman simply looked like a waste of time to me. But I can explain this by the idea that both sides are very emotional and nervous right now. So both are making some really silly moves or mistakes in this fight. In any case, this still looks really cool because we can see some humane side in all of these characters right now. Okay, so Titan Cameraman approaches Jimmy and gives him a really nice smack with the Astro Claw. And speaking about that thing, I noticed something really hilarious about it. G-Man gets really enraged by this, and now the most interesting part begins that we all were waiting such a long time for. He forms this very purple ball of energy that he used in episode 72 to trick the ISOTOILET, and then take control over his claws that captured these infected energy balls, and then he sends it right onto Titan Cameraman's claw. And oh my god, guys, I really watched the next couple of seconds with my held breath. Boom really tricked us all with this scene, because check out what happens next. Titan Cameraman didn't take this shot onto the main part of his claw, but instead he simply pushes this thing away like an annoying dog's face using the metal part of his claw and not the blue energetic thread. So maybe that can explain the fact that Titan Cameraman wasn't controlled by G-Man at this moment. And plus, there is another possibility explaining why the capture of Titan Cameraman's body didn't come into reality. So here's what I think. The capabilities of these Astro Claws included attaching the energy or some object towards their owner. But what if Titan Cameraman decided to use the exact opposite thing in this scene? So he pushed this purple energy away instead of pulling it closer to himself, and that's what simply saved him from Jimmy taking control over his body. Plus, I couldn't help but laugh at this scene a little bit because it looked just like one giant troll from Boom's personal side. He must have known about how popular was the theory about Titan Cameraman, who could have gotten infected by Jimmy and then passed away. And by this scene, Boom simply teased our anticipation and then ruined it completely. Okay, Chad, that was a pretty smart move from your side. And what made this scene even more hilarious is this little gesture that Titan Cameraman does in front of the infuriated Jimmy after the energy ball exploded somewhere in the background. He wags his finger right in front of Jimmy's face as if he was saying to him something like, brother, you won't get me that easily. I'm not that gullible, you know. And in response to this, G-Man's eyebrows flew even higher from where they already were before, like he was some drag queen or something, and he starts blasting his lasers once again, but this time into Titan Cameraman. Although right now, he and Titan Speakerman seems to be on the same line of sight, so probably by this laser's blast, G-Man tried to affect them both. And Bro seems really drunk with fury because then he even turns his head towards Titan TV Man, and then something really interesting happens. After Jimmy turned his head, we hear the phrase, "Come here!" And it seems like it's Titan TV Man who says this, and after that, G-Man pulls a pretty shocked face and steps back at the very last moment when Titan TV Man jumps. But there is another possibility, as I can see several small details hinting to it. Firstly, check out how G-Man opened his mouth right at the moment when this phrase started playing. So what if it was actually him teasing Titan TV Man to join the battle as well, so that he could trick him with this thing? And then it would mean that G-Man is capable of now speaking not only in human language, but in TV men's language as well. But this thought is really crazy. Plus, Boom made this scene pretty ambiguous, and I think he did it on purpose. So let me hold my horses for now, but we can definitely remember this moment anyway. And as Titan TV Man jumps at Jimmy, he steps aside so the Titan falls to the ground pretty heavily. And here I noticed two details at once. Firstly, as Titan fell, he started teleporting right away, and I know exactly the place where he teleported to and why, and I'll show it to you later in this video. And secondly, pay your attention to this glimpse of green light that can be noticed from the left side on this column. Although I didn't see the material figure of the secret agent, I'm sure that he's still here and watching the whole battle. Okay, and now let's take a look at Titan Cameraman. It seemed like he was patiently absorbing G-Man's angry lasers all this time. And when the time came, he prepared his Ultra Mode shot on his Astro Claw and sent it right into G-Man's face. But Jimmy just answered with eerie laughter in order to show his opponent that he isn't even bothered with such damage at all. But it all seemed to be a trap, because then we can see Titan Speakerman appearing from behind Jimmy's back, and he apparently wants to pull the same trick that ISOTOILET planned to do, and both scenes were a reference to episode 22. But to tell you honestly, what Titan Speakerman was doing to G-Man behind his back was a little bit sus. And as you'll continue watching this analysis, then you will see exactly what I mean, and that it was just the beginning. Check out what happens afterwards. G-Man pushes Speakerman back with the shot of his turbines and then gets closer to the Titan with his mouth wide shot for whatever reason. Maybe he wanted to bite his face off, or maybe he simply was in a romantic mood. And Speakerman seemed to share his sussy desires, because he then put his big, thick cannon right into Jimmy's mouth and pressed the salvo button. Okay, so it seems like that iconic troll leak from Boom didn't lie to us after all, and G-Man was really meant to have something inside of his mouth in this episode. And believe me, guys, things are about to get only worse from there. Then Speakerman adds a shot from his core as a cherry on top, so to speak, while G-Man is still in a very interesting position, and he growls as his mouth gets disturbed once again. Jesus, guys. This episode takes another turn, huh? And then happens something completely crazy. After that, he throws Titan Speakerman to the ground, and he creates a pretty wimpy sound, and look who's already materialized behind his back. Dude, no way they infected Titan Speakerman once again. This Chad must have developed PTSD already after all of this. And in this moment, we can see the moment I told you about earlier, as we see this brief purple outburst that was on my screen for nearly a split second. And I believe this is the sign of Titan TV Man teleporting to his current position. The guy seems to me in total disbelief, as he even says, "You've got to be shitting me."
You've got to be shitting me.
And I completely share his opinion. Titan TV Man spent a lot of time chasing the infected Speakerman in the earlier episodes, so I bet he's really disappointed now. No one from Skibidi analysts could have even seen this coming, myself included. And as G-Man eagerly watches two comrades in battle, Titan Cameraman didn't waste any time, and with the phrase, "You're mine," he grabs Jimmy's head, and this frame looks exactly like the leak that Boom posted on Twitter earlier. And then touchdown. And then Titan Cameraman starts frying this chicken really good, and in the process, G-Man screams in a really meme way. In this moment, we see how Titan Cameraman gets attacked from the back as well, and this is that exact Jim Bro Skibidi mutant that tried to flirt with Camera Woman in the previous episode. He managed to drop a grenade into him before getting thrown off like an annoying bug, plus I think he distracted Titan Cameraman and wasted his time too. He manages to escape Titan Cameraman's heavy metal foot, and in this moment we see another Skibidi who drills himself out of the ground, and he's literally hung with explosives. And if you don't mind me, I'm gonna call him Drill Skibidi from now on, because damn me if it's not a reference to Dom Studios' Drill Man. And then this freak simply blows off one of Titan Cameraman's legs, and the explosion is so powerful that it even reaches Camera Woman, who loses her right arm because of its impact. Oh damn, guys. How she will be showing her paired gestures from now on, though. That's actually really sad. As Titan Cameraman barely got up on his feet, G-Man reminded us all about his remaining existence with this terrifying shout. And to tell you honestly, right now he looks more like a wild animal and not a proud Skibidi commander any longer. And it's funny how he uses his mouth once again to bite another part of Titan Cameraman's off. It feels like he simply forgot that he has other advanced tools for fighting. And guys, just look at these insane eyes in this scene. They are genuinely creepy as hell. And then he charges at Titan Cameraman like a mad bull. And in response to that, he grabs Jimmy's head using his Astro Claw once again, and it truly awakens some really prehistoric instincts in G-Man as he switches to Skibidi language again, and his face gets even crazier than it looked before. While he's blazing Titan Cameraman with his lasers as a means of revenge for his previous humiliation, Titan Speakerman appears from behind once more and... Hey, wait a minute. Wasn't this guy supposed to be infected, though? So it seems to me that Titan TV Man was the one responsible for curing him. Probably he managed to cut the parasite out of his body, or maybe he cured him using the blessed energy from his core. Because we could remember him healing Titan Cameraman using his core already. Plus we know that TV Woman was actually the one to cure Titan Speakerman before, so it might definitely work. But if Titan TV Man indeed cured Titan Speakerman with the power of his core, that it's the reason for us to worry and not actually celebrate. Because you do remember that G-Man sent the secret agent's virus into the body of Titan TV Man at the beginning of this episode? So what if this kind of infection is inside of the body of Titan Speakerman as well? Man, this is really a large field for our further speculation, and I think that I will even make a separate video dedicated to this topic. And now let's get back to Titan Speakerman attacking G-Man from the back, and guys, this is like third time already when he uses this tactics. What in the actual hell? And by the way, check out this knife in his hand, because it actually looks a bit different from the model he used before. And it also doesn't look the same to the model we saw in the secret scene with Lucky Cameraman and the gray-suited Speakerman. He thrusts G-Man into his eye socket with this knife, and in response to that, the Freak thrusts him as well, but using a bit different tool in, a bit different position. This episode is really something, guys. And then we also hear the sound of Siren from Half-Life in this scene. He does it several times, and then Titan Speakerman gets tired of all this crap and opposes him with this giant scream, to which G-Man answers with an even bigger shout. Is this a screaming competitor at this point for you guys? They got closer once again and exchanged a few juicy smacks. And it seems like G-Man still doesn't perceive the whole situation seriously enough, as he keeps laughing like a cartoon villain or something like this. But then Titan TV Man got to the scene once again, and this dude did not come here just to play, that's for sure. Just look at his face. He is truly determined to avenge his little brother Titan Speakerman, who was almost doomed to get infected second time, and G-Man was directly responsible for that. So he gifts the Freak a few powerful swings of his purple sword, and this is when G-Man starts to panic. He quickly steps aside and yells, "Wait! You need me!" And to tell you honestly, this is such a cliché phrase that almost all the villains use when they get cornered by the protagonists of different games or movies. And what usually always happens after such pleas is that villains get absolutely demolished afterwards for all their sins and vile doings. So I was pretty worried about G-Man in this scene. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. He couldn't get wrecked just this simple, didn't he? And hopefully my predictions about him actually came to be true, because this is what happens then in the episode. Titan TV Man answers to this with a phrase, "Only your head!" And then he leaps at G-Man with his claws ready, but he misses in the most hilarious way possible. Check out how G-Man slowly dodges to the side, and Titan TV Man kisses the ground instead. Get yourself together, bro. This was a little bit embarrassing for a Titan of your league, you know? Then he turns around and says, "Now die!" After which he activates his red glow. And now check this out. It's obvious that G-Man doesn't like this red sunbath at all, but it doesn't seem like this glow actually hurt him. He can even open his eyes without any issues, which is just insane. And meanwhile he says, "No, I will survive!" And while he was speaking all this, we can see what was actually inside of one of these Skibidi containers. But mind that it was just one container while the second one is gone for now. So it turned out that there were giant turbines for G-Man to escape the battle in the moment of imminent heat, and that's exactly what he does. While all the Titans are left in a terribly damaged state, and Titan TV Man is so frustrated that he starts swinging his sword in all sides and screaming angrily. His target was so close to getting demolished but escaped from his fingers at the very last moment. Okay, I can see why this chat is mad for real. And then he teleports in the vortex of thunderclouds, and oh man, that looked really cool. And that's how the episode ended. And that was all for today. This episode was truly an insane ride that left us lots of new questions to think about. What did G-Man actually mean by his phrase, "You need me"? What is left in another container that managed to escape from the battlefield? What's going to happen to the badly injured Titans afterwards, and how they will manage to get G-Man in the end? And what will Camerawoman do without one of her hands? I think I'll make a separate video where I'll answer all these questions, not to make this video way too long. Write in the comments below about how excited you are to see the next 74th episode, and be sure to subscribe to my channel not to miss my new videos, and also to my Discord where you can contact me directly and get lots of information for my subscribers only. And that was me, ISOTOILET. See ya!